The nurse carried my kid. You know how you bond with your child when you give birth? I didn't. I was staying in the bed. When I tried to roll on the other side, pain, Lynn.
Are you telling them you're in pain?
Of course, Lynn, I told them.
What are they saying?
It is normal. Some patients usually vomit because of the side effect of the medicine. You know, when you are in that recovery room, the nurses in the morning, you have to wake up, go take a bath. Your beddings are changed and everything. I didn't wake up, Lynn. I remember the nurse calling the nurse in charge, telling them that this lady, she's arrogant. She can't wake up with others. She came, Lynn. She made noise. It is for your well-being. You have to wake up so that that child will sleep in a clean environment. Me, I can't even turn to see her. I can't even look at her. And she don't want to know what's wrong with me. He took care of me. He could have chosen to go away and start another family. Thank you. I honor you. I'm grateful. Thank you. I love you. How are you?
Hii ni mawingu tu inapita. One day hata yada reform. Mungu atasaidia.
Good morning and welcome to today's episode of Tales of Wanjiku. Leo niko Gilgil, my people, and it's so windy, but I had to come and visit Esther and her family because for the last 1 year, 8 months, her life has not been the same. She showed up at St.Mary's hospital to deliver her second born, but what she has now is a wound, and she's constantly traveling with her bag, one that you might confuse for a handbag, lakini hapo ndani amebebea machine because a lot of things are happening to her body and she's going to be explaining that to us. So nimekuja huku kwao Gilgil, ni vizuri hata naona hapa dadi anavalisha katoto sweater. Aka sasa ndio the baby. Yeah. This is our baby sasa. Chacha, this is the baby sasa. This is your miracle baby. My miracle baby. My gift. Your gift. Yeah. Yes. And I know you're about to take us through the story. Yes. So my people, please stay tuned. We are about to hear Esther's story, and please pay attention to all the details that will be inside the video so that we can get to know how best we can get to elevate this family. Sawa, uko ready mami? Kabisa? Aya basi.
My name's Esther Njeri Kimochu.
Yeah.
Kimochu is my dad. Yeah. Okay, the reason why I'm here, it is because of my condition. And so guys,
uko sawa?
Ndio sawa.
Nikunyelea. Goja. This is your machine.
Yeah. You have to bear with me because the machine is producing a lot of noise, but iko na kazi yake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hii ndio unabebanga kwa handbag.
Yeah. Okay. Nabebanga hii kwa handbag kwa sababu inatoa uchafu kwa kidonda. Na it is supposed to compress the kidonda ndo ishikane. Kidonda ni shimo, so it's not making anything easy for me. I have to go with it everywhere I go. And when I say everywhere, ni mpaka kwa choo.
You have to carry it.
I have to carry it. Hata nikilala, anything I do, I have to carry it. So you can imagine the situation, how it is.
I want us to get to how we got ourselves here, but I know you're also a mom of 2 wonderful babies.
Yeah. I'm a mom.
Yes.
I'm a wife. My babies are 2 handsome boys.
Okay.
I thank God.
Yeah.
They are cute. They are my blessing. Hata kama tuko hivi, I count them my blessing. tumetoka mbali na wao
Yeah.
just because of this situation.
Yes.
Yeah, my firstborn boy is 5 years old.
Okay.
And my secondborn boy yako 1 year 8 months.
1 year 8 months.
Yeah.
So your second born baby na his situation, they are very connected.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, my secondborn baby, do I say he got me here? No, because mi nilibeba tu ball like any other person. It was very normal. Okay, I started my antenatal clinics at St.Mary hospital and they were good. Ilikuwa tu sawa, like you go to after every month, I'm okay. My firstborn child, it was through CS. And if you have gone through CS for the first time, the second time it will be maybe 50-50.
Yeah.
You can go for a CS and you can go
For
for normal. The normal
yes.
way.
Yeah.
But they preferred CS to them. To because of their medical knowledge, you know, you can't question them. So I was okay with the CAs. They gave me the dates when I'll be going for the CS, and I went. It was on 16th of August 2020. I went for the admission. So the CS was supposed to take place on 17th of August 2020.
Yeah.
I went, I was admitted. I went for a scan because you cannot do any CS without a scan. So I went for a scan. Everything was all right. The baby was okay. The amniotic fluid was okay. And the dates were okay. So on 17th of August, we were so many ladies in the ward waiting for the surgery or the CS the following morning. So we slept on it. We were told not to eat from a certain time. It was from 2 a.m. to the time that you'll go to the ward for the CS. So we were very faithful to the time that we were given. We didn't eat. We waited. The CS, the ladies that we were with, they came before me on 16th. So they had to go before me and I had to wait for my time.
Okay.
I waited. My time ilifika 10, around 10:05 hapo hivyo. So my name was called. Kama kawaida, a nurse came, she called me and she took me to theater. Okay, when you go to theater, the doctors come, they do introduction. I'll be the one taking you through this and this. So the nurse that was responsible for me, her name was Esther actually.
Yeah. Oh, namesake.
Yeah, she was my namesake, and you can imagine how happy I was. She told me she will be giving me the injection so that the doctor will take charge.
Yes.
And the doctor came. The doctor's name was Dr. Kizito. He came, he asked me questions.
Yeah.
He asked me if it was the first CS, and it was not the first one, it was the second one. He asked me a lot of questions. They talk a lot before the CS because they want to see how the medicine is taking place. The CS was a halfway, so you can hear everything on the upper side, okay? And he put me on medication, yenye unaekangwa, the water and everything. And after some minutes, the doctor told me, we have a new surgeon. So the new surgeon will be the one to take
Care of you.
care of me. He will be the one to take me through the CS. So the new doctor came with his nurses. He didn't do introduction. I can't remember if he did the introduction. But the doctor, this Dr. Kizito, he went and sat down at the corner. And I can remember him dozing off. I tell you, I told you I've gone through the first CS. I didn't see that happen during my first CS. What I know, the doctor who took me through the first CS, actually, coincidentally, his name, he's Dr. James. He was from Narok Referral Hospital. They share the name with my son. So he was there. He took the nurses through the CS. You have to do this, you are doing this, and you are doing this. But I didn't see it when I was in St. Mary's theater. The doctor went. So when the new doctor came, you know, during the CS, you can hear everything I told you. So I heard everything as they open the scar, as they bring out the child. But mimi, yani CS ya kwanza, I didn't hear what I heard there. I heard everything, even when they were pushing the stomach, and you are not supposed to hear that. And I told them, because I was mourning, and they asked me, what's wrong? I told them, I can hear everything. Mi nasikia uchungu. But nothing happened. Haiku change anything. They went on na wakavuta mtoto. Wow. They showed me the child, and I was the happiest mother in the world. I was waiting for a baby boy, and God gave me a baby boy. They showed me my child. He weighed 3.3. I thank God. But when they were
Closing.
Yeah, they were closing the scar. I heard them say they were struggling somehow. And I heard them say, hii haishoni, aki haishoni. But I didn't think ahead of that. I thought it was the previous scar.
Yenye imepanua sana.
Yeah.
So they are just having a bit of problem.
Exactly. They finished and they went. So they told me after some minutes, you'll go to the recovery ward and you'll get your baby. But Lynn, when they took me to the recovery, not exactly the ward, hapo tu kwa theater, there's a recovery room hapo. I started vomiting. I vomited Lynn. Esther came, my namesake. She was there asking me how I'm feeling, what will I want for help. You're not supposed to eat immediately you come from theater. So there's nothing much she could have done. Ni kuniangalia tu. I stayed there, Lynn, from around, sasa ukienda theater haukaangi sana. You stay around 40 minutes. So I went to theater at 10. So let's assume it took 40 minutes.
By 11 you were out.
I was out, but I stayed from 11 to 8 p.m. I was still vomiting.
In the recovery room.
In the recovery room. My hubby came to see me. He never saw me. I was supposed to be in the recovery ward with other women, but I didn't go. I didn't go see my child because I was vomiting. After 8, I went to the recovery ward, so I joined the other women, the other ladies. And they were curious. What happened? Why have you taken so long? And do I have the answers? I had to tell them I was vomiting. After some minutes, Lynn, they came for us. They're all women now. Watupeleke upstairs. Because when you go through the CS, you take 3 days at the hospital. We went. I was not able to carry my child. The nurse carried my kid. You know how you bond with your child when you give birth? I didn't. I was staying in the bed. When I tried to roll on the other side, pain, Lynn.
Are you telling them you're in pain?
Of course, Lynn, I told them.
What are they saying?
It is normal. Some patients usually vomit because of the side effect of the medicine. But mine had taken so long. I had not vomited earlier during my first child. So this was abnormal to me. We went to the recovery ward. It was upstairs, Lynn. I struggled going upstairs. But you know the nurses, the way they are arrogant. Some they are good nurses. They are good nurses, but
When
some
the
are
arrogant
arrogant.
ones.
See, wewe si wa kwanza. Now you see mtoto wa kwanza, and you're walking like this. I had to gather strength. I went upstairs. Lynn, najaribu kupanda kitanda ya hosi. I couldn't. Nilipanda tu pole, lakini I couldn't even turn to breastfeed my kid. Other mamas, they are okay. They're even going to the toilet. My case was different. They were brought food, Lynn. They ate. Me, when I had the aroma of the food, I was vomiting, sweating. We called the nurses in charge. The other mama who was next to me called the nurse in charge. And they wanted to know what was wrong with me. But they said it is side effect of the dawa za theater. So mi nikakaa. I never ate, Lynn, for the first day. Na ulikuwa umekaa for some hours without eating when you go to theater. Those who have gone to theater knows when you come out of theater, you want food like
Crazy.
Hey, my God. I want food. But when I hear that aroma,
You won't.
I vomit. The second day, it was the same. You know, when you are in that recovery room, the nurses in the morning, you have to wake up, go take a bath. Your beddings are changed and everything. I didn't wake up, Lynn. I remember the nurse calling the nurse in charge, telling them that this lady, she's arrogant. She can't wake up with others. She came, Lynn. She made noise. It is for your well-being. You have to wake up so that that child will sleep in a clean environment. Me, I can't even turn to see her. I can't even look at her. And she don't want to know what's wrong with me. And so I had to be arrogant too, if it was arrogancy or anything.
Yes.
I told her, excuse me, this is not my first child. And my first child, I used to wake up. I cannot. And if I cannot, put the bed sheet there. I will change when I can. And they went. I didn't eat even a single day. And it was during the corona time. So there was no visitors. At that, my sister will come and I'll tell her everything. My husband was coming. He stands on the gate. Apeana Kenya napeana, and he goes back. So Lynn, he went back the first day and the second day. And he didn't see me the first day when I gave birth to my child because I was late in the ward. So they came with my sister the third day. Lynn, I had not eaten. So walikuwa napatiana matunda and everything kwa mlango ya St.Mary. Naletewa, I can't eat. He came the third day, I was to be discharged. Then I can tell you, the second day before he came, a nurse came at night. I was unable to sleep, Lynn. I was vomiting. I told them I was in pain. My stomach was in pain. Do you know what she did? She was a young girl. Alinidunga sindano hapa. As you know, there's no vein here. Lynn, after some days, nilianza kuchipuka nyama hapa. Niko na alama hapa. Nikaanza kumea moles. So nyama ilitoka. So what did she do? Alinidunga sindano na dawa na hakuna vein. So hiyo dawa ikanichoma. But I didn't know. I noticed after some days. In the third day, my hubby and my sister came to take me home and the kid. Lynn, we went home. When we were being discharged, my husband insisted. I came walking with my 2 legs. But now, nainamililia hivi najikunja because it is painful. They told him, it's normal. Lynn, I went home. But I couldn't eat even when I reached home.
They released you.
They released me.
They said you were okay to go home.
I was okay to go home. We went home.
Did they give you any medicine to bring home?
Of course, we were given medication,
Okay.
after birth.
Yeah, after birth.
After birth, nothing else. So we went home. Lynn, I couldn't even climb my bed to lie down. My hubby was going to sleep on the bed with the kid. I was left on the chair, on the couch. Because couch iko chini, at least we are not struggling. Mtoto akilia, he had to bring the baby and a breastfeed and arudi na yeye bedroom. Lynn, it was painful. Even at home, as I hear the aroma of the food they are preparing, I was vomiting. Lynn, nilikuwa natapika, karai inajaa, green things. And when I was in the hospital, the same case was happening, but they didn't care. Those who were cleaning the hospital had the guts to tell me, when I feel like vomiting, I take the karai from the bed, I vomit on inside my karai, because wamechoka kufagia, hata wako kuosha matapiko. So when I was home, my hubby had to go to work. In the morning, I was left under the care of my husband. Has 2 girls, by the way. The younger was at home with the kids, and my sister's kids. They are
So
of the same age.
children.
Eh?
So his other children.
Yeah, he has other children.
Okay.
So they were taking care of me. Lynn, my second day at home, I was on the couch. Around 2 hivi, nilitapika, karai ikaja. They took the karai away. And I slept on the couch. I had not taken anything all this time. This is the 4th day. I'm at home. I'm vomiting. So they took the karai away and I was left on the couch. Lynn, I vomited again on the couch because hainanga control. And I passed out. The second day at home, I passed out. You know, when you have passed out, you can hear everything, but you cannot do anything. So my hubby came. He used to come early at home. He came around 4, and he asked me, "How is mom? How is the child?" And they told him, actually mama amelala. Hajatuitisha hata kitu. Amelala. He came. Aka find out nime pass out. So we had to sleep on it to go to the hospital the following day. Kulikuwa na curfew ya corona.
Yeah.
We slept on it. The following day, my sister came. There's a sister who was my neighbor from where I was staying there. She came very early in the morning. She called another sister from the next town. We went to St.Mary's. When we went, they were asking me, have you gone to the toilet from the day that you gave birth? No. So there's a problem. Okay. Then nikaenda scan. They did a scan, and in the middle of that, I went to the toilet. I happened to go to the toilet. I have the urge to go to the toilet. I went, but the stool was not normal. It was like bloody. I went and told them. The doctor who we went to see, he was Dr. Shege. Was a young man. So he told us, if I went to the toilet, I'd be released to go back home, because maybe that was the one that was.
Maybe that was the issue.
Yeah, we went. Kwenda nyumbani Lynn, when we were on our way home, gari kienda kukunywa petroli on the petrol station. That harufu, it caught my stomach like ninakatakatwa. Nilipiga nduru. I yelled. We had to go back again to the hospital. So that's when I was admitted. It was at night. I went, I was admitted. The following morning, I had to go to theater. They had to check the problem. They are not telling us the problem, but they took us to theater. Waangalie ni nini kwa tumbo. My stomach wasn't going back inside. Ilikuwa inafura. We went, operation ikafanywa Lynn. But they didn't give us the report. You see how the doctor comes and tell you this is the problem, but they told him that we may reconstruct everything and it's okay. So I have a CS wound Lynn, and they have opened up like this.
But there is no report now.
There is no report.
Hawampei ndio hii report?
No.
Ndio hizi scans?
No.
Ndio hii?
A scan they gave us.
Yes.
The scans they gave us.
Yeah.
But after the operation, you know they have to tell you what they have found out.
And what they've done.
Exactly. They didn't. But I remember after this scar, Lynn, after 2 days, I was vomiting. It went non-stop. I had never eaten from day one. Lynn. I was vomiting. And they have not closed the wound. It was open, but wamefunika na bandage. So when I vomited, I had something like... And I slept on it. The following morning, the nurses who were coming to wash the wound, when they opened Lynn, my intestines were all over. Zilikuwa zinatetemeka hapa juu. So they called the doctor. And the nurse wanted to clean, irrespective of how it was. I refused. I told him to call the doctor. The doctor came. Akaekelea Vaseline gauze hapo juu. So we had to wait.
Ati akaekelea?
Vaseline gauze.
Hiyo ni nini?
Kuna gauze zingine inakuanga like na mafuta. Ndio isishike hizo nini. So the doctor came in the evening. So nilikaa hivyo na matumbo yangu nje. The doctor came, the general surgeon. His name was Dr. Kasoya. He's not a Kenyan citizen, I guess. He came and I had to go back to theatre Lynn. I had not eaten from the CS. I was very weak. That's another surgery.
Your intestines are out?
My intestines are out. I had to go back to theatre. Again. Dawa ya theatre hata ijaisha kwa kichwa Lynn. I went. When I went back to theatre, walieka zile uzi za kutoa. They are like polythene. Lynn, hizo uzi mahali imeguza inakata. My whole stomach ilikuwa wound. Lynn. So I came from theatre, of course. It was an emergency then because it was not meant to happen like that. Nimewekwa nyuzi. I'm in a lot of pain. After 3 days zenye nimewekwa hizo nyuzi, they put me on TPN. It's a milk that you feed through.
TPA?
TPN.
TPN?
Yes.
You feel, the one you feel through here?
Yeah, through here.
Oh.
So I had to go back to theatre. Niwekwa hii line.
Oh, that's why the scar is here.
Yeah, I have a scar here.
Yes.
I went back, wakanieka. And you know, sikuwekwa dawa yoyote. I was alive. I was feeling everything. Wakieka hiyo line. Unaekwa line, alafu unashonwa. All that pain. You have a wound that is very painful. Then you go through this one. So I was feeding on that TPN. Every day, after every 24 hours, it costed every day ilikuwa ina cost 7,500. So you have to go to the pharmacy, you buy, you bring, unaekwa. I went through that for a whole month. Lynn. Wanajaribu hii dawa, and imagine walikuwa wanakuja kuongelelea hapo, the medicines are not working. You as a patient, how do you feel?
And right now, are you insured? Do you have, how are you affording the 7,500 every day?
I had NHIF.
Okay.
But that only covered me during the childbirth.
Yes. So ingine ni mfuko.
Ni mfuko. But unfortunately, Lynn, hawako wanatupea risiti. We didn't receive any receipt from going to buy from the pharmacy and everything.
Walikuwa wanawatuma aje?
From the doctor. So you are written something from the doctor. You go to the pharmacy, you pay.
Wakupee dawa.
Wakupee dawa.
But watakupea receipt
They
yenye
never
umelipa?
gave us any receipt.
Are you for real?
I'm very real. And because of feeding on those fluid, my body was like ilifura. So there was no vein. Medication is through vein, Lynn. If you can see, I have black spots all over.
Yes.
Inaekwa hii inaruka. They have to do something on my leg. I have a scar there.
Oh, come on.
With a scalpel. Without any medication. I was in the ward. Lynn, I used to scream. So niliekwa hiyo ya mguu. And every morning, Lynn, I had to wake up to walk. Because they said walking will make the discharge that was coming out itoke. With that, it was painful. With a painful wound, I used to walk. I have a video, Lynn. I was walking, sukumaring the kadhi, and you are carrying your waist with you. I used to walk with my pain. Lynn, when I was in St.Mary's, my child used to cry because he was on another bed beside me. I can't do anything. I can't hold my child. My child also was on a formula milk because I couldn't breastfeed. I'm not feeding. I have no milk. At the formula milk, we had to get money from the pocket. That formula milk, he used to take it within 3 days. So after every 3 days, you are required 1,200 to buy my baby formula. I went through hell, Lynn. I went through hell. I remember they wanted me to go for another surgery so that they can see how the fluid is coming out. It is not stopping, although they have done everything. They were saying they have done everything. They said that it is not stopping. They have to go to check what. So, at my home, there's a dispenser, a government dispensary. There was that nurse who used to know my sister, and she used to know me. She was Rose, and her husband was working at Kenyatta. She's a senior doctor at Kenyatta. So she used to follow on me. How is she doing? And my sister told her they want to take her back to theater. And she was like, are they serious? Back to theater? She's weak. Ninaongezewa damu Lynn. Waliniongeza 4 points when I was in St.Mary's. Waliniongeza 4 points. And they want to take me back to theater. Waangalie hiyo fluid inatoka wapi Lynn. So she insisted aongee na the general surgeon. And she was like, are you guys serious? Imagine they retrieved. Hawakunipeleka theater. And that's when she advised my husband to take me out of St. Mary's to Kenyatta. After 1 whole month, 31 days Lynn, I had not fed with my mouth. And they were refusing. They were saying, I'm very weak. I cannot be given out.
But you are weak to be given out and but not weak to go to theater?
Exactly. My husband fought with words, of course. And finally, they accepted. So the following day, we were going for a referral to Kenyatta National Hospital. Lynn, we were given an ambulance without a nurse. But we didn't know we had no nurse because there was a lady there who I was on oxygen. But when I was in St. Mary's, I was on oxygen throughout. And supportive machine yenye inaleta, blood pressure inapanda, everything. So when we went, I was on the same machine and the oxygen. We went to St. Mary's. Hatukuitishwa bill. St. Mary's, they didn't ask for the bill. They didn't ask for the money for the ambulance. They didn't.
They just released you?
They released us.
With no bill?
Yes.
No one asked you to pay?
No.
No medical records for you to take to Kenyatta?
We were given the file.
The file, yes.
We were given the file.
But they also gave you the ambulance.
And the car report, yeah?
Yes.
And the ambulance.
But they did not ask you for any money?
No.
How generous.
And we didn't even go to the social workers. You understand, each and every hospital has social workers who deal with the cases of those persons who are unable to pay.
Yes.
We didn't.
They were very generous.
Very generous, for that matter.
Yeah.
We went to Kenyatta, Lynn. So, the husband of this nurse lady
Yes.
was the one who was directing us to Kenyatta. There were corona that time. The nurses were going on strike. So there were rumors the nurses are going on strike. So we had not to go to the general ward.
Yeah.
We went to the private wing to a specialist of the stomach. And the specialist of the stomach introduced us to a specialist of the wound. So I was seeing 2 specialists. But they had been given the report. Lynn, I went to the ward ya Kenyatta. I was in ward 10B. The doctor took care of me. But do you imagine, in the second day, during the second day the doctor came, he asked me, Esther, are you going to the toilet? I told him yes. I had felt like going to the toilet when I was in St.Mary's, and I told them. They told me, no, you can't go to the toilet. According to the condition you are in, you cannot. You are unable to go to the toilet. But they didn't explain further. So I went to Kenyatta. The second day the doctor came, asked me if I'm going to the toilet. I told him, siendi choo, because I'm not feeding. And he was like, what? Why? I told him I was told that. For 31 days I'm not on food. I'm on TPN. He told me, ask for food. Tell them to give you food. But the light one, start with the light one. The kaporage, the kaugali, kamukimo, like that. I ate lean, to my surprise. I was even wondering how my mouth will chew the food. For 31 days we're not on food. I ate. And the following day I went to the toilet. Were they knowing what they were treating at St. Mary's? The doctor took care of me.
So these doctors at Kenyatta and the doctors and what you are going through at St. Mary's, what are the doctors in Kenyatta telling you that has started make you unago like, okay, wale walikuwa wanajua kitu wanafanya kweli?
Lynn,
how was the difference between the ones in Kenyatta and St. Mary's?
Okay, let me start from here. When we reached at Kenyatta, when we were online, we didn't know exactly where we were going, so we first went the general side, yeah, at emergency, that area of emergency. So when the nurse who were welcoming the patient saw us, was like, Lynn, nilikuwa kwa kamachela, so nasukumwa. The nurse was like, who is with this patient? And my husband and my sister were there. They said it is them that were with me. And they asked, uko sure hauna nurse? Hamjakuja na daktari ama nurse from St. Mary's? And they were like, no, we were not given the nurse and the doctor.
It's okay.
And so, wakasema, do you know that if this patient na akona line imeenda through the heart, akivuta tu hewa hivi kwa hizo line, she's gone. We didn't know the seriousness of that. They didn't tell us. And the ambulance that brought us went. We were left with our files on the line. Fortunate enough, before we were taken, they told us to wait because we don't have a doctor. And we had to call the husband to that lady from Kenyatta. And he took us to the specialist now. Now when I was at Kenyatta, the things that made me realize that St. Mary's didn't know exactly what they were doing. Kenyatta, the doctor changed the medication. I was on TPN only for one night. The night that I was admitted. The following day, he changed. Because when even I was taking that TPN, there was a time, hiyo harufu ikimehit, natapika tena. The doctor at Kenyatta prescribed a medicine for me. Kumbe Lynn, I developed ulcers because I was not feeding. So hiyo kutapika ni hiyo ulcers. By then when I was at Kenyatta. But when I was at St. Mary's, it was not ulcers. I had no ulcers. Alafu kuna hiyo medication he used to give me nisitapike. I never had that medication when I was in St. Mary's. And I stopped vomiting.
Ukaanza to get better.
I started getting better, Lynn. They put me on this drainage vacuum machine.
This came from Kenyatta.
This came from Kenyatta. but not now.
Yes.
This is another story.
Yes.
So at Kenyatta, I stayed for another 30 days and I was better. Lynn, I started, and this, fortunate enough, when I was at Kenyatta, they told me to relax on the bed. I had not to walk. St.Mary's were waking me up at 8. Walk.
Amka utembee.
Walk. The wound was fresh, Lynn, with pain. Amka utembee. Nasukuma kakitu kangu nikitembea Lynn. I used to walk. I used to gather strength, Lynn. Ni walk. Ndio nipone for my kids. Remember, I had children at home. This girl, my husband's girl, is at home. And my baby boy, he was only 3 years. 3 years and a half. So he used to call me, Mom, why are you not coming home? Namwambia tu nitakuja. One day I called him and he told me he doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk with me. You left me. It was painful. So when I'm at Kenyatta, I relaxed at the bed. And when the doctor came, told me next week, I think you'll be released. You're getting better. The specialist was stomach, this Dr. Musila, told me he will not take me to the theater again. He will watch me. And if I get better, I don't have to go to theater. So they wanted to take me to theater. And here I was told, you will not go to theater.
Let's watch you.
Let's watch you. But the bill came in. The bill was around 500,000. But the NHIF walilipa 120. So Lynn, my husband called St.Mary's to ask about the money. They were not calling about the progress and everything. When I went there, the story ended. So my husband was talking with an administrator. His name was Dr. Wafula. And he was very caring when I was at St. Mary's. He used to check on me. But he was not a doctor. He was an administrator. And so, yes, he's like accepting.
Yeah.
But he cannot accept fully.
Yes.
He said, I cannot do that one. That is not my case. I have to refer you to our lawyer. So come on Monday and see our lawyer and see what you'll talk with them. So he was not taking the whole responsibility, but at least he was talking.
Yeah.
Okay. He went to the lawyer. They denied everything.
So why is your husband going to the lawyer?
He's going to the lawyer, Lynn, because he has started thinking there is something going on. Lynn, do you know that the waste used to come out from here before I started feeding? Lynn was coming out from here. And that waste ilikuwa inamwagika huku. It came a time the drainage that they put on me haikuwa inawaka Lynn. So hiyo waste ilikuwa inanimwagikia all over nyuma na hapa. So when I went to Kenyatta, my skin started peeling. The black one. You know how the child akichomeka na makojo anachomekanga? Exactly. I was black all over. So when he was calling and he went to consult the lawyer, we were hoping they will take charge because they had not even asked for the bill when they were giving the referrals to Kenyatta. But they refused everything. Thank God, Lynn. My husband took a loan. Plus the small savings that he had, of course. But remember, we had been using money, Lynn. From day one. We were staying on a rental house because of the location of his job. Lynn. The baby were feeding at home. Whoever was taking care of me at the hospital is feeding. The fuel he was using to come every day for 31 days, there's no single day that he didn't come to the hospital. There's no single day.
And here he takes a loan.
He takes a loan. The family, of course, came through. But Lynn, kila mtu ana struggle kivyake. The family and friends. They were able to raise maybe around 100,000. So the other one was alone. Lynn, I went out of the hospital. So we were struggling even to feed Lynn from the hospital. We stayed Lynn. And you believe, after, you know our husbands, the men, the characters of men, they play strong in everything. He can't tell me anything. He didn't even tell me it was loan. I came to learn of it the other day. So when I am discharged, I'm supposed to go for clinics every week to see this specialist. Lynn, you are seeing a wound specialist and a stomach specialist. Each and every visit to the doctor, you have to go with 6K. To see this specialist is 3,000. To see this another specialist needs 3,000 minus medication.
Not traveling.
Not traveling. You are taking medication. I was on a medication. Now you have to pay the doctor. Now the children have to feed. My kid fed on formula so that I can gain the strength. Niweze kumnyonyesha. By the way, I breastfed him.
Oh, yeah.
I gathered strength. I had to. I wanted to bond with my child. So Lynn, December, watu wenye wanaendanga home, my husband insisted on going home. I didn't know why, and I was telling him, so wait, I get at least stronger, we will go on January 1st. He insisted. I didn't know the reason. He went. January came. Lynn, I got a letter from the owner of the houses that we were staying. He was not there. I opened. See, I'm the wife. I'm that wife.
Yes.
I want to know what is going on. Maybe it's a letter from another family. I read. To my shock, Lynn.
Rent.
And we were given only 7 days
To move.
to move. During that time, from the day I was discharged, my sister was taking care of us. Because he has taken a loan from even where he was working. He was not having a salary. So nimesoma barua. We had to move.
Mnafukuzwa.
So you can't call the family that is feeding you to start raising rent. It was not logical. So we had to relocate Lynn. We relocated in February. We came here. We had to come here.
Now here in Gilgil.
Yeah, here at Gilgil.
So this is your home.
Yeah, this is our home. We are blessed. I thank God. So Lynn, and we had to come from here every week to Kenyatta for clinics. So the cost.
Nakabag kako.
Nakabag kangu. No, I was out of this Lynn.
Yes.
Because they hoped the wound may close. Yeah. There was that ka small hole. Kalikuwa kama bakisha kidogo tu. But Lynn, it didn't close. So it had closed kidogo, and the doctor stopped seeing us. So the clinic that we were going ni hizi nini kuvurutwa, uzi kuvurutwa, okay? And zilivurutwa zote. So zimeisha. I'm not on medication again. So I had to stay home.
Yeah.
After some time, aka wound kakaanza kutokea. It was bad. Because we don't have money, Lynn. I used to go to sub-county hospital. They don't know what they are doing. Una start from zero. You are explaining to them what happened, blah, blah, blah. You have to go for checkup. You have to go for scans. Waone kama ndani kuko sawa. So you are using money. After 1 year, 8 months, I talked with the same doctor who referred us to Kenyatta, who helped us. Anaitwa Dr. James. I'm very grateful to him.
Yeah.
We went to Kenyatta again. And because he know we don't have money, he took us to not the private wing now. The general. He took us to a doctor called Dr. Wabwire. He's a plastic surgeon. So he sees the condition of my wound because he told me to take a picture, and he took to the doctor. He booked me an appointment, and I went. So we went for several appointments. The medicine didn't work, so it didn't close, and he told us the only option ni kwenda surgery ingine. So that ilikuwa na sinus. They call it sinus. It is an infection. It was from inside, not from outside. Lynn, I went for surgery. Thank God enough, NHIF paid for us. Okay? They paid for us 43,000. We booked for the surgery and I went. I didn't tell you the kidonda, it had keroids all over. Mahali ile uzi iliguza pote, tumbo yangu ilikuwa mbaya. So when we were going through the surgery to recorrect the sinus, they removed the keroids, okay? After the surgery, Lynn, we were discharged immediately. It was a long surgery, a 6-hour surgery. So it was that serious. We had to come out of the hospital after 24 hours, before 24 hours actually, tuende tukachomwe. Because of that, those keloids, this growth, and they were painful. When it was cold, you couldn't stay. Kujikuna, uchungu. The CS wound, you could have lifted it like this because of those keloids. So Lynn, after the surgery, it went wrong. I had to come to the sub-county hospital because it was near and it was cheap. Kuoshwa, it's only 100 bob. Wananiosha, and they were good nurses. But kashimo kakaenda kakitokeanga. I was bleeding. It started bleeding. Ukienda kuoshwa inatoa damu, and they wanted to know why the damu is coming out. But the appointment date that we were given, haijafika, so we couldn't go. Kenyatta, if you don't have appointment, you are not seen. So we had to call the Dr. James again. He has been so helpful. Akatusaidia tena. Tukarudi Kenyatta. But that's after hawa wameshindwa. Wametutuma Naivasha, tuchukuliwe picha, tuangalie kama hiyo damu inatoka ndani. But we had to go again to Kenyatta. Tukaenda. The doctor told us that the skin, because of that ka wound, si unajua tulikuwa tunaona tu ka wound kadogo, ndani kuna hiyo waste ilikuwa ndani. So hiyo ngozi ya intestine, Lynn, ilikuwa imekulika yote. So wali reconstruct na wakanieka mesh. Mesh ni ya kufunika intestine. And they told us, because it is bad, it is not closing, na it will take time, you just take the machine. Lynn, singekuwa nyumbani na hii machine. Nafaa kuwa hospitalini. But because of the bill, we can't. Lynn, tuna struggle hata kufeed huku. My families, wao wanatufeed. I didn't tell you, after tumeambiwa tutoke kwa nyumba, my husband lost his job. Yes.
He got fired.
Yes. Because of this corona thing, he got fired. He has not been going to work faithfully like he used to.
Because he has to take care of
to take care of the kid. Imagine he was sleeping with the kid for a whole month. Usiku, mtoto analia, mchana anaenda job, saa 7 anakuja hosi. You see? So he got fired. So he had no money. That's why I'm here at home with my machine. The wound is not closing.
So you're supposed to be in hospital now?
I'm supposed to be in hospital.
How much does it take to change?
The machine is changed after every 7 days. And she costs that 16,000. After every 7 days, 16,000. 16,000.
So you're supposed to be admitted now?
I am supposed to be admitted. Actually, the doctor, Wabwire, told us to choose between being admitted and being put on this machine. So we saw that when you get admitted, Lynn, we had gone through this earlier about the bills and everything. We are on loan because of my hospital bill. We tried even selling my hubby's car. It's on Facebook on my page. It didn't get any customers.
When you reach out to St.Mary, have you guys filed a lawsuit?
We tried, Lynn. We tried. But do you believe that opening a file to sue a hospital is 100,000 shillings?
What?
Yes.
Opening a file
Yes.
to sue a hospital
Yes.
is 100,000.
100,000 shillings.
Earlier on, you also mentioned every time you go to social media and say something about St. Mary's,
Yes,
what happens?
Late last year, it was around April, a celeb came in and she asked about the hospital and the experiences that people had in hospitals. And I had to say it. I mentioned St. Mary's. Within 2 days, Lynn, my account was disabled. I have that message. I screenshotted. Yeah, I cannot access my account. It is locked.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, the last 2 weeks, it was around last week,
Yes.
a lady who was helping me,
Yeah.
her name is Divina Joseph.
Yeah, our Divina.
Yeah, our Divina. She posted about me. And unfortunately, her page was disabled. This got me thinking. The same happened to my page when I mentioned them. The same is happening to her page when she mentioned them. Why are they disabling our pages? Just because we have mentioned on the mention of their name,
So
and they are not taking the responsibilities.
have they reached out to you?
Not exactly to me, but Divina Joseph told me they tried to reach
Out to her.
Yeah, to her,
Yeah.
to connect her with me,
Yeah.
but alikata. So the following day, she was active. Within 17 minutes, imedisaboliwa. Because she kept on commenting to the post.
To the post.
Exactly.
And what do you think this is a case of medical negligence?
Yes, very sure. It is a medical negligence. Lynn, they wrote a report. They have their report. And it is saying it is a boil something. Boil ndo ilikuwa inatoa hiyo discharge. But I was going through a CS, Lynn. How did the CS connected with the boil? How? And the discharge that was coming out of the wound ilikuwa choo, Lynn.
Did you ever ask them why a last minute team was introduced to take you through CS?
I never. We never. Because we saw it hard. When we were told that opening a file is costed 100,000 bob,
That's a lot.
we retrieved Lynn because we are suffering. We had paid the hospital bill. We are feeding our kids. My husband's daughter is in high school. We are paying school fees. His work. Hana. Utawezaje kufungua file costing 100,000 bob? Iko wapi, Lynn?
Talk to me about your husband.
Oh God, I don't know what to say. He's very caring.
Actually, it's okay. Baba Gift, kuja tu na hiyo kiti hapa kuza. Guys, you know he has been watching all along. Karibu. When you are sitting pale watching her, what is going through your mind?
Okay, now ile kitu naweza sema tumepitia mambo mengi. In fact, wakati alikuwa hospitali Kenyatta, nilikuwa nalala na mtoto from kitu kama saa 4 mpaka saa 11. Night wakati mwingine mtoto halali, then you have to, because mchana anashinda na watoto. So usiku nilikuwa na take responsibility nilale na mtoto such that now you are in a time ya kupumzika, the following day ndio waweza So vile sasa nilikuwa naenda job, ninatoka job ninaenda kumwangalia every day. In fact, I think about akiwa Kenyatta is about ni siku 2 tu siku manage kwenda. Kwenda kumuona.
Na sasa hivi una face nini?
Now okay, after hiyo muda nilikuwa naenda hospitali na nini. Kulikuwa na mambo mingi hata kazini. Then on December nikasimamishwa kazi.
Ulikuwa unafanya kazi gani?
Nilikuwa kuna kampuni tulikuwa tunafanya nayo. Nilikuwa in charge wa transport na logistics. Yeah. So kazi
ikaisha.
so kazi ikaisha. So you have to relocate kutoka huko tukakuja nyumbani hapa.
Hii St.Mary wamekuambia nini?
Now St.Mary wakati huyu akiwa Kenyatta hospital nilipiga simu. There is a guy who was an administrator. Nikampigia simu. Okay, tulikuwa tunaongea na yeye in fact hata tukiwa St.Mary. So wakati nikiwa Kenya one day nikampigia simu na nikarecord conversation yangu even today hata kwa saa hii niko na that conversation. Then nikamwambia amekuwa discharged na hatuna pesa ya kulipa hospitali. Kama hospitali inaweza tusaidia because issue ilitokana na hospitali. No, wakasema unless niongee na mmoja wao. Then one day nikaenda huko hospitali akanituma kwa lawyer. Personally nikaenda kwa lawyer tukaongea. Then after that nikapigia after some few days akaniambia ataongea na management then atanipea report. Kukaa kitu kama 2 or 3 days nikapigia that lawyer akaniambia management ilisema they are not reliable na hiyo maneno ya vile sasa hiyo what happened.
So management imesema it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Wanasema fault ni nini?
They said it's a rupture that happened at home. But I wonder.
In fact, wakati alifanywa CS the same day alianza ku vomit. So problem ilitokana na wakati walienda kumfanya CS. Yeah.
Na from what they were saying after the CS haishoneki. I came to add up.
Yes,
Haishoneki.
Yeah.
So walifanya kitu kwa intestine na wakajaribu kushona. Ikakataa.
So
who does that? Are they really doctors? Because if he was a doctor, he should know that intestine are not shonward. Yeah.
Ungetaka bibi yako kumwambia nini ama tuanze na Esther? Najua mmetoka. Ungetaka kuambia mzee nini?
Oh my God.
Ndio yumuangalia kwa tu hapa.
You are a wonderful man. So many men are neglecting their wives out there because of such things. We have heard of women left in the hospitals because of the bill, but he chose to take care of me. Lynn, I'm a young girl, and he took care of me. He could have chosen to go away and start another family. Thank you. I honor you. I'm grateful. Thank you. I love you.
Oh, yeah, msitufanyie hivi. Papa Gift.
Yes.
Nataka kumwambia nini? Yeye na familia yako.
Okay, ile naweza sema hii ni mawigu tu inapita. One day hata ya reform Mungu atasaidia. In fact, tuko na shida because this machine we are paying 16,000 per week. Yes. And the other, kuna vitu zingine, kuna school fees, kuna nini. Na sina kazi kwa sasa.
Yes. Na yes, ongea na Wakenya. This is tutumie hii. I think my people mnaweza ona hiyo kelele mmekuwa mkisikia, it's coming from this machine.
And it has an odor.
It has
There's a smell that
it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't mind. It's okay. It's okay. Ongea Baba Gift. Ongea na ungetaka Wakenya waingilie wapi hapa? Hii ya St.Mary's tutadeal nayo baadaye.
Yes.
Sasa mnataka msaada gani?
Okay, according to daktari wanasema kuna sijui that day hasikuwa kwa hatukuwa na yeye.
Yes.
But aliniambia daktari anasema sijui ni nini inaweza fanywa.
Yeah.
Then from there ndio hiyo shimo pahali yako na that nini ifunike. Na at least awache kutumia machine. Yeah.
Aache kutumia machine.
Yeah. Now the problem is hatukujua ni hospitali gani tunaweza enda ama the cost ya hiyo the cost of the whole
process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Wakenya, I'm pleading for your help. If they can be a specialist out there who have dealt with a similar case, you can at least intervene. We don't know where to start because we are financially disabled. The machine itself, it's costing 16,000 per week. And the doctor in charge of the machine said it's not an easy job, so it will take a while. It is not easy for me. I can't take care of my family. We can't concentrate. My husband has to be from here to my sister's place at Thika because it is near the facilities of the machine. We tried checking for the same machine here and there's none. Mimi kitu ningeomba ni support tafadhali. Lynn, when I relocated from here, my child stayed at home for a whole term because we had no means. The same case is happening now. Because wanafungua shule, hatuna pesa, tumetumia zote hospitalini. So tunaomba tu msaada. Mimi niweze kupona. Nikipona Lynn, I can't do anything for my family.
Ungetaka kuambia St. Mary's nini?
St. Mary's, you took me through a whole lot. It's a hell. Lynn, my child who is 1 year 8 months, sijai mbeba kwa mgongo yangu. I'm unable because of all those surgeries. I'm not supposed to because kidonda haijapona.
Ukikaona una feeling aje? Unapata una regret ama?
I don't regret having my child. The only part who I maybe naona, I wish I could singeenda St. Mary's. I wish I knew. But we had no other choice because Lynn, kulikuwa na curfew. There were some places you couldn't go past.
Ndio walikuwa karibu.
So we went to them. St. Mary's, I wish you could even have accepted your mistakes. At least musemange muliwasamehea. But they couldn't accept. They were arrogant. I don't know how to call them. They were arrogant.
And your kids, ungetaka wajue nini? Your kids.
My children, your mommy loves you so much. I wish I can do more. Lynn, you don't know the pain of a parent. When you are my fears, niacha niende tena hosi, how my children will survive. Sai tuna survive Lynn, kukula, you know how hard it is. What if when hauna job, what we are going through. I remember ndio my husband anikujie ndo nikuje huku. He queued from 5 to 12 a.m. kutafuta mafuta ya gari. So he's going through a lot himself. We are going through a lot. Wakenya, kama kuna mtu anaweza pea mzee wangu kazi na mimi nipone, I'll be grateful. I want to live for my children. Lynn, I grew up without parents. I can't imagine a life of my children without me being around. I want to protect them.
I think you have fought the greatest battle. Tuko hapa. You are still fighting. Continue fighting. Nothing about this is fair. And I can't imagine kama it happened to you, how many other women, how many other families are suffering simply because someone decided your life was not that important. But you know what happens on this show? We all come together. People pray together. Emotionally, people will come through.
Amen.
I love when I see you smile. You know,
Yeah.
whatever help you need and my community is able to offer that help, they will offer that help. give us your phone number, tupe mpaka ya mzee, majina full tuweke hapa. I believe also by the time we air there will be a pay bill in place for you to be able to kufanya nini? Could get as much help as possible. I'll obviously also reach out to St.Mary, nisikie watasema nini, but above all, keep fighting.
Amen. I'm fighting.
Do not even for a second give up.
I cannot.
You know,
for my family.
that day I met you, you know, I had no reason why you were hugging me. I knew, najua alikuwa amebeba kabag kake. I knew this is just one of my supporter ameona Lynn, but she could not let go, and there's a reason and a timing for everything. So no matter what you guys are going through, mushikane tu venye mmeshikana. I'm so proud of you. When we see such men kwa hii show, I say thank you. Unaona, thank you, and yes, everything will be okay. Kuna
Amen.
kitu ungetaka kumalizia nayo?
Yeah.
Sema.
Oh God, how can I forget my family? My family from both sides. They have supported us financially, mentally, my healing process. They have taken me through. Family, wao wamekuwa wakitulisha Lynn. Hospital bill wamechangia pia.
Yes.
They came through. Walikuwa wanaambiwa kuna donation ya damu inatakikana. They were there, all of them. The prayers, they prayed for us from both sides. Her daughters too. They were very supportive, Lynn. They were very, very supportive. Do you know her daughter actually wrote to you?
His daughter?
Yes. He wrote to you about me. But thank God I reached you first.
There's a reason for everything.
Exactly. I love them so much. I love them. My words cannot be enough to compensate their kindness. My family, his family, wherever they are, just know that I appreciate you so, so much. I might not say that every day, but I appreciate.
Sindio? Na tuna survive.
Kabisa.
Hii tunakujia follow up.
Thank you.
Hii tutakujia very powerful follow up. And my people, Director Edwin Ochieng, which camera am I on? This one. My people, you know what we do on this show. You know how much your support means on this show. I'll be reaching out to so many other women. I want to hear your experience, especially at St. Mary's. Anyone who has ever delivered uko, experience ilikuwa aje, ama any other hospital. But before we can even take this matter any further, what we want is to see Esther getting the best medical attention. What we want to see is one of you offering Baba gift hapa, Bwana ya Esther, our good man here on the show. Kazi qualifications ni gani? Unaweza fanya kazi kaa gani?
Nimefanya mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyone mechanical engineering, my people, mkitaka makaratasi zote yatatuma. Kabla hata nifunge namba za simu turudilie tuambie.
Okay. 011 4000 110.
Majina zote
Esther Njeri Kimochu.
hivyo ndio M-Pesa itatokea.
M-Pesa itatoka Esther
Kimochu.
Yes.
Okay.
011
Yeah.
4000 110.
Okay.
Baba gift number. It's 0721
Tunaona umekram.
0721
Yeah.
69
Yes.
73 38.
Na M-Pesa italeta
Daniel Karanja.
Daniel Karanja.
Yes.
Okay.
Or 07
Yeah.
98 21 99 66.
Same names.
Same names.
Good.
Yeah.
Hapo hiyo tuko sawa. Pay bill, by the time guys you are watching this, the pay bill is also here, and I believe the numbers have been on your screen because we let them last hapa for longer. So let's come together. Let's give these people all the support they need. Let's elevate them. Let's show them that we can come together the way we come together. No one deserves kubeba hii kitu kwa kibeti every single time, but I keep saying the best thing about you my people is that you fight and we come together and nothing will ever, hakuna kitu ina change. So let's come through for Esther and her family. Guys, whatever it is you can offer, kama ni kazi, mechanical engineering ndio hiyo, best medical attention, watoto wako shule, so hata watu wenye wanaweza tushikilia na school fees pale, just text them wakupatie details za shule. You can even pay directly to the school. You can hear the daughters wako shule, the son ako shule, food, home ni hapa Gilgil. Guys, come visit, and I know we are about to have a very powerful follow-up of this story. Thank you so much, guys. Please, our editor, our beautiful Chebet Kirui, easy number, please watch zikae hapa longer. And of course, thank you to you for editing this episode, compiling it, making sure it reaches our audience right on time. And our camera person, director, the legendary Edwin Ochienga, kwa kukuja na sisi huku Gilgil kama kawaida, so that we are able to bring you these conversations. If you want to share your story with me, of course, email yangu ndio hiyo hapo kwa screen. Send a summary of your story, and who knows, we could be telling your story next hapa kwa Tales of Wanjiku. Asanteni kwa kutukaribisha nyumbani. And I know by the time we are done na hii episode, milango zitakuwa zimefungu.
Amen.
Na tuamini, si ni ukweli?
Amen.
All right, thank you. Sawa.
Thank you.
Okay.